Appointments Committee, hinting approval of some nominees may be subjected to voting at the plenary.
We have not taken a decision on Mr. Blackwell. So that's why I'm asking whether you are sure of what you are claiming the chairman has said.
Also ahead in the bulletin, minority in parliament raises concerns over immediate assumption of office by the newly nominated governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, following his appointment by President John Dramani Mahama.
Why would the man go to office today with media that he is a central bank governor? He's not a governor.
Also ahead in the bulletin, Mortuary Workers Association backs decision by the Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital to temporarily suspend mortuary operations for renovation of the facility's cold room, saying it is long overdue.
Korle-Bu is long overdue. They've had a very bad cold room. I remember last year there was issue with the cold room, which needed maintenance. So I think that's it's good news for me. I think that
we've got details of all of these stories and more making the Starr Midday News Bulletin. Do stay tuned.
Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, My Star Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Starr 1035 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Starr 103.5 FM. Starr News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
Thank you very much for joining us here on the Starr Midday News. My name is Lantam Papanko. Some members of the minority in Parliament are threatening to withdraw from the ad hoc committee set up by the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, to investigate the chaos that occurred during last week's sitting of the Appointments Committee. Now, this comes despite reassurances from the caucus that it has and will continue to cooperate with the majority. Yesterday, at a press briefing, the minority caucus in Parliament, led by Minority Leader Alexander Kwamina Fenyumakin, reiterated the caucus's firm position, insisting they would not be intimidated by the majority. The caucus also launched a scathing attack on the clerk to the Appointments Committee, accusing her of exhibiting blatant partisanship in the ongoing ministerial vetting process. They argue that her conduct has undermined parliamentary neutrality and are demanding her immediate removal. There's more in this report by my colleague, Obed King-Aglo.
Parliament is on edge following Speaker Bagbin's decision to suspend 4 members of Parliament in the wake of last Thursday's chaotic ministerial vetting. The disorder, which saw tables overturned, microphones smashed, and MPs nearly exchanging blows, brought proceedings to a dramatic halt, forcing the Speaker to take disciplinary action. However, the minority caucus, led by its leader Alexander Fenyumakin, has fiercely contested the decision.
We have come to a conclusion that Mr. Speaker grossly exceeded his jurisdiction and his mandate, and in the process arrogated powers that he does not have unto himself. We believe that though we disagree with Mr. Speaker, out of deference to him, we must still engage him, and we would engage him.
On the issue of the clerk of the Appointments Committee, Minority Leader Alexander Fenyumakin is calling on the Clerk of Parliament to ensure she is removed.
The clerk to the committee is a partisan clerk. She is not a neutral professional clerk. She's caused us a lot of discomfort. We've tolerated, accommodated her. At this point, it's getting out of hand. For now, we don't want the clerk on the appointment committee again. We, the minority, are calling on the clerk to Parliament to remove her from the appointment committee.
Describing the minority as a happy but mighty few, Minority Leader Alexander Fenyumakin insists the minority will not be intimidated by the majority.
This happy few will not allow itself to be intimidated. We will never surrender to any intimidation. All the issues that are being thrown at us are aimed at cowing us. None of it will work.
The minority emphasized the caucus's resilience stating that their action are driven by national interests. Meanwhile, a 7-member committee set up by the Speaker to probe the incident has begun its work in earnest.
Well, the minorities hinting are not participating as they question the basis on which the Speaker suspended its members and subsequently set up a committee to look into the matters that ensued last Thursday. Nanaje Bafwewa is the Member of Parliament for the Menchia South constituency.
You don't correct a wrong with a wrong. You don't correct a wrong with a wrong. We are a constitutional democracy. The Constitution enjoins us to comply with the law, with law and order. And so, if someone commits a wrong, we cannot say that simply because what the person did was wrong, we are also going to use wrong approach in dealing with it. Fundamentally, there should be fair hearing.
Right.
Secondly, because it was something that involved other people, right? You cannot handpick a select few and say that you are responsible. I think that it breaches the principle of fairness, right, on all fours. It breaches it, right? And that is why we are saying that even his approach lacks fairness. Even his approach outside of the Constitution that you see today is operating on a waiver.
Okay.
And so a lot of the rules have been dispensed with.
Right.
That shows you a minority that is very cooperative. A minority that doesn't want to stand in the way of the majority in its business. In fact, some of us believe that it is as a result of the waiver or the cooperation which has brought us this far. Because but for the cooperation, there would have been a complaints and privileges committee.
Right.
And the Speaker wouldn't have been able to make those decisions that he's making.
No, we don't.
Nana J. Bafo is Member of Parliament for the Menchia South constituency. We head now to Parliament where security arrangements have been beefed up to stop suspended MPs from accessing the chamber. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent and head of our political desk here at the EIB Network, Ibrahim Al-Hassan, is on the phone to give us an update. Ibrahim, welcome to the bulletin. We understand that there is beefed up security at Parliament. Is it true that they are trying to make sure that the 4 suspended MPs do not enter the chamber?
Well, Lantam, that's the intention. And that's because that particular intention of the minority has been made public, i.e. the decision for the caucus to disregard the suspension of the 4 MPs and subsequently ask members or the individuals affected to show up. Yesterday, in our engagement with Alendra Pamina Market, when we put the question to him and that there are still engagements ongoing and that he's very hopeful that before session begins, it will be clearer for the MPs to be able to access the chamber. I have cited him in the company back of Parliament exiting from the Speaker's chamber. And that's to say that, indeed, there have been some engagement. The minority leader had sent a memo to the Speaker demanding an engagement before the House sits today, and then also making it clear to the Speaker that the decision he took is not grounded in law, and neither is it grounded in the standing orders of our Parliament. And so, with that said, Parliament is just taking precautionary measures. It's not just the main entrance to Parliament. In fact, today, as a result of what has been happening, there's only one main entrance to the chamber. And that is the entrance that you might have seen. And I'm sure listeners who are on our social media handles will equally see that there's a barricade with police presence to ensure that any member of Parliament who intends accessing the chamber goes through only that entrance. And that's to ensure that if you are suspended, you remain suspended. And a moment ago, before I came on air, I saw members of the minority emanate from a caucus meeting who will be forgiven, Lantam, if you think they are headed for a funeral or they are returning from a funeral. It's in black, with red headbands, and it's also not just members of Parliament. The national chairman for the NPP, 17th, is here. The national organizer of the party is here in the company of other national executives. Some of them clad in red cloth, black cloth, signifying their mood, a caucus. That's not surprising because the party issued a statement condemning in no uncertain terms the decision that was taken by the speaker. And so, yes, I've seen one of the suspended MPs here at the President of Parliament, not in the chamber. That is the way that our MP and second Deputy Minority Chief Whip, Jerry Ahmed. As mentioned, the caucus was in a meeting. The meeting has just ended and with the MPs moving to the chamber. But of course, sitting is here to start. So, Lantam, that's a picture I can paint for you from Parliament.
Very well, Ibrahim Al Hassan, thank you very much for bringing us that update from Parliament. Ibrahim Al Hassan is a parliamentary affairs correspondent, and he's also head of the political desk here at the EIB network. Meanwhile, the minority leader Alexander Kwabena Afenyomarkin has disputed claims that some nominees have been unanimously approved by the appointments committee, hinting that the approval of some of the nominees may be subjected to voting at the plenary. Addressing the media after vetting on Friday, the chairman of the appointments committee explained that the nominees that were vetted on Friday has been unanimously passed by the committee. But speaking on state of affairs on GH1 television yesterday, the minority leader dismissed the claims and emphasized that the committee is yet to reach a consensus.
Are you sure he said that? Because the draft report is here. So the draft report is here. So I don't think he would say that. I'm not sure you are quoting him right, but I doubt if he would say that. When we finish vetting, we have to sit to take a decision. We have not taken a decision on Mr. Blackwell. So that's why I'm asking whether you are sure of what you are claiming the chairman has said. Because we've not taken a decision yet. The man said he was bringing some documents. So,
all right.
I don't know what you really mean by that.
Well, the minority leader also reaffirmed his position on what he describes as partisanship by the clerk to the appointments committee. He insisted that the clerk has not applied the same standards to the NDC majority as she did to the MPP when they were in the minority or the majority in the 8th Parliament. According to Afenyomarkin, the minority will only cooperate with the clerk if she remains neutral in her role. He justified his protest against their conduct, stating that after raising his concerns, he has observed some improvements in her approach.
I served as leader of government business. We worked with her. The standards she held up to, where she would always insist that Dr. Atufosin's views must be sought.
Yeah.
What has changed? So don't let us go there. Already, the clerk to Parliament has started an engagement, and I pray that by tomorrow we get to finally resolve it. If she changes her approach and she acts very neutral, we would all work with her happily. We are parliamentarians. The clerks who work with us must be neutral. That's the rule. If a clerk is disrespecting a caucus and acting partisan, look, two major things I've not talked about, and I'll repeat it here. One, reports. You know, when I spoke against her conduct,
yes.
Today I have all the draft reports on my desk. Prior to that, the draft reports were not coming. I would only see the report the first time in the chamber. Who does that? Two, she would post nominations for vetting at midnight without consulting us. She will write letters to nominees. Look at the way she causes embarrassment on the Omanibu Ama case. Even Ablakwa, apparently she had written to Ablakwa to come that day. We didn't know. That is not the way Parliament works.
Alexander Kwabena Afenyomarkin is Member of Parliament for Futu constituency. He is also minority leader in Parliament. There have been many reactions on social media with regard to all that has been ensuing since Thursday when the melee broke out at the appointments committee sittings. Nanama Akwa is in the studio with details of some of those comments on social media. Nanama, what have people been saying?
Well, Afenyo Markin is the man of the hour. Now, I decided to stick to Instagram today because the comments were so many. We have first black man who says accountability is important in politics. We also have Rich. You two, a deceptive being as you are, has no right to vet anyone without shame. Ventures simply says that Afenyo is a noise maker. We also have MPP now know they have an intelligent man like Afenyo and couldn't use him to win an election concert. Innocent says that with all the issues in the health sector, the minister was vetted under 30 minutes, almost 4 hours vetting the foreign minister. We have Ankinde, the toughest man in parliament. Eben says you're only looking for relevance after the vetting is over. Your micro minority is of no use. Thank you. Dromo says when your money finishes, you talk plenty. We have here, you think they can't handle you? Keep bragging as if your party won the election. Your time is fast approaching. Don says also the job of the majority leader is to hold the feet of government to the fire. You were the majority leader, but you couldn't hold your government to fire, but messed up the country's economy horribly. Our last comment here is from Richie, who says 1D, 1F, 1V, 1D, 1C, 1MD, and now Happy Mighty Few, which is HMF. Sloganeering even in opposition.
Right.
That's all we have for this right now. Back to you, Lantam.
Thank you very much. Interesting comments there
Sure.
from social media. Check out our social media pages at Starr 1035 FM across Facebook, X, and Instagram. Now, the minority in Parliament is raising concerns over the immediate assumption of office by the newly nominated governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, following his appointment by President John Dramani Mahama. Dr. Isiama, who took up the role in the presence of selected media personnel, is being accused of acting without the necessary constitutional approvals. In President Mahama's appointment letter, he explicitly stated that Dr. Isiama's nomination was pending the approval of the Council of State in line with constitutional provisions. Minority Leader Alexander Kwamina Afenyo-Markin has described the governor's early assumption of office as a constitutional blunder and hinted at plans to challenge his actions.
The Constitution provides that there must be some consultation.
Yeah.
Does that mean that the man goes to take office immediately? No, these are serious constitutional matters that, as a leader, I cannot shut my eyes on. This is a serious constitutional blunder. If President issues a letter, he says that I am nominated. He didn't say he has appointed. He says he's nominated the person pending the Council of State's confirmation. Mm-hmm. The Constitution provides that the central bank governor will necessarily have to go through the Council of State. Mm-hmm. There are other nominations that you would have to go through the Council of State before you are eventually appointed. Why would the man go to office today with media that he's a central bank governor? He's not a governor. I don't recognize him as a governor. He's a nominee. He has to wait. We don't even have the Council of State. You don't just walk into the office and say that you are a governor. So this is a matter that will take it up as minority. Those at the presidency may have to look at the letter again, the communication from the presidency again. The president would have to, in consultation with Council of State, after the Judicial Council has advised, Council of State would have to come in before parliamentary approval. Mm-hmm. Can we say that the person should go and sit at the bench pending parliamentary approval? No. The consultation process must commence, completed, then he's properly sworn in.
Alexander Kwamina Afenyo-Markin is minority leader in Parliament. Now, away from matters of Parliament, the Mortuary Workers Association has backed decisions made by the Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital to temporarily suspend mortuary operations for the renovation of the facility's cold room. The management of Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital said this is to improve service delivery. As a result, the hospital will not accept brought-in dead cases during this period, except those that come from within the hospital. The refurbishment is expected to take 6 weeks. As such, bereaved families with deceased relatives who have been in the mortuary for 3 to 6 weeks or longer have been advised to make immediate arrangements for burial or transfer to alternative facilities. Mortuary workers have backed the move. The General Secretary of the Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana, Richard Kofi Jordan, spoke to Starr News.
The issue at Korle-Bu is long overdue. They've had a very bad cold room. I remember last year, somewhere September, October, there was issue with the cold room, which needed maintenance. So I think it's good news for me. I think that if the place is done properly, Korle-Bu will be able to serve the public. So the directive from Korle-Bu is that those who are at Korle-Bu or those who died at Korle-Bu, they will not be rejected. But those who are brought in dead or those who come from outside, they will not be accepted. There may be other facilities to take care of that. The police hospital is there, the medical morgue is there, 37 is there, Lekman is there, Dodowa is there, and other places which bodies can be sent to. Death is that some go, some come. Until when it is becoming overwhelming, I think there will be some improvisation. As we speak now, Korle-Bu is going to be out of operation for about 6 weeks. For those who are dying from home or those that are brought from outside.
You've just listened to the General Secretary of the Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana, Richard Kofi Jordan, speaking to Starr News. Now, the National Union of Ghana Students is threatening a nationwide demonstration against the West African Examination Council to address concerns over examination irregularities, emphasizing fairness and justice for affected students. The move comes after WAEC announced resolutions from the 37th meeting of the Ghana Examinations Committee held on December 16, 2024, detailing steps to address malpractice in examinations. Addressing a press conference, the president of NUCS, Daniel Korle-Bu, raised critical issues regarding the treatment of students implicated in the examination malpractice and demanded a release of the results that have been withheld by the West African Examinations Council within 1 week.
If reforms are not initiated to address these deep-seated injustices, WAEC must understand that it is accountable to the people of Ghana, and the continued abuse of its discretionary powers will no longer be tolerated. In conclusion, education is a fundamental right, and WAEC must uphold justice, transparency, and accountability. The credibility of WAEC is at stake if students and the general public lose confidence in its fairness. We demand immediate reforms and to address these injustices. If WAEC fails to act, NUCS will escalate the matter through legal and advocacy channels, including seeking judicial intervention. We urge all students to remain calm but resolute in demanding our rights. NUCS stands with every student affected by WAEC's actions.
You've just listened to the president of the National Union of Ghana Students. It's now time for sports. And Monica Bukari is here in the studio to bring us the latest from the world of sports. Monica, what's in sports?
Good afternoon, Lantam. Not so much of a good news since yesterday, but then in Kumasi, the wife of Francis Frimpong, popularly known as Paul, is still in denial about her husband's death. Paul tragically lost his life after being alleged stabbed during match day 19 of the Ghana Premier League game between Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Instrumentman FC on Sunday. His wife expressed disbelief, stating that she still can't believe her husband is gone.
Menyame misi me twa me kunu metia me twa me kunu wakra me anopa me kunu wakra me kani tu me kunu kra me wokodru ye me kunu fla me wakache me so hema misi yes wakache me se ma ne wlem misi mo be wlem mate 3 o'clock me kunu bu na me ntise me kunu Jesus, ready with me, mama, what's it? Ready with me, mama. This one I couple me mabo. Ebenezer na me say who me mabo. Midday. See me do my say me na me. They make catch me say me train me kun. No kwa na me catch the one. Me train me kun.
So a statement released by Kotoko this morning also states that the club has halted all football activities until justice, except for Pole. As we speak, IGP Dampare is also in Kumasi to meet in the Kumasi, the Kotoko Secretariat, to have some meetings. But away from that, let's do international, where Chelsea moved into the top four with a 2-1 comeback win over West Ham as former manager Graham Potter returned to Stamford Bridge. West Ham led 1-0 at half-time after Jarrod Bowen capitalized on a Levy Colwell mistake. Chelsea equalized in the 64th minute when Pedro Neto finished a rebound of Enzo Fernandez's shot. Cole Palmer's deflected strike completed a turnaround. Head coach Enzo Maresca praised his team, saying they fully deserve the victory despite the tough challenge.
Yeah, I was very happy, especially because I consider tonight's game probably the toughest game in terms of mentally, because in this moment when teams come here and just they sit back waiting for our mistake, there is no space to attack. You need to be patient. And first half, we were playing in the opposite side.
And that was Enzo Maresca there. But meanwhile, despite the defeat, West Ham manager Graham Potter says there are lots of positives from his team. Let's take a listen.
I thought it was a really positive performance from our perspective. We had a good understanding of how we wanted to defend and how we wanted to attack. We probably could have done better ourselves with the ball, but in terms of the game and the plan, I think we restricted Chelsea to not too many chances. They had possession, but not too many chances. We feel a little bit unlucky with the first goal. We felt it was a foul.
So Lantam, that does it for sports. But meanwhile, we'll bring you more updates this evening at how things go in Kumasi. My name is Monica Bukari. Back to you, Lantam.
Thank you very much, Monica Bukari, bringing us the latest in the world of sports. Now, skin-neglected tropical diseases continue to affect thousands of people in Ghana with devastating health and socio-economic consequences. In the eastern region, over 1,400 suspected cases have been identified across 4 districts. But a 2-year project is in the offing, bringing hope to affected communities. Now, the Ghana Health Service is appealing for more diagnostic tools to help in testing and facilitating treatment of cases. Our Eastern Regional Correspondent Kojo Ansa has more in the following report.
The implementation of 2-year partnership for the eradication of skin-neglected tropical diseases project by ARC Development Organization with funding from ANESVAT recorded 1,453 suspected cases of skin NTDs in the 4 districts: Upper Menya Krobo, West Akem, Fantiakwa North, and Suhum. Suhum alone accounted for 604 cases, representing 41.7% of all reported cases. Skin NTDs such as Buruli ulcer, leprosy, yaws, and lymphatic filariasis cause severe disabilities and in extreme cases lead to death and economic impoverishment.
We're able to increase case detection, the communities in which we are operating the project, implementing the project, also being able to provide direct support for some of the clients, indirectly also assisted them to get treatment from us.
The first phase of the project provided direct wound care to 453 patients, referred 1,000 others to hospitals, and recorded 5 deaths and 3 amputations. David Quainin is project officer.
Indirectly, we also realized that the people we referred to the system, over 50% of them were healed when we went to the field to visit them. We were able to also increase access to potable drinking water in 4 communities through the construction of 4 mechanized boreholes in Yonyom, Yankumasi, the 2 in Upper Menya, and then Asarakwa at Fantiakwa North and Komame in Suhum municipality.
Well, that's all we have for you on the Starr Midday News on Starr 103.5 FM. Thank you very much for listening. For more news, do log on to starfm.com.gh. Also take a look at our social media handles at Starr 1035 FM on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram. My name is Lantam Papanko. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.